All right, let's talk about a word. A really simple word, actually, but one that trips so many people up. It's a core part of basic English, but it's super easy to get wrong. So let's just jump right in and clear it up. Now, you might be thinking a whole explainer on a four-letter word? And yeah, absolutely, because this one little word is at the center of a huge mix-up with another word, lose. And trust me, it's a mistake that even native speakers make constantly. I mean, be honest for a second. Have you ever been typing something out and you just stop? You're staring at the screen wondering, wait, is it L-O-O-S-E or L-O-S-E? If that's you, you're in good company. This is easily one of the most common mistakes out there. And look, our source material calls this out specifically. The confusion is so real, it needs its own warning label. But here's the good news. By the time we're done here, you're going to have this down cold. You won't make that mistake again. But first things first, we've got to really understand what loose is all about on its own. And this is bigger than just fixing a little spelling mistake, you know? Getting this word right is actually about shoring up your whole foundation in English. Because this word, it's way more important than it looks. So this brings us to something really cool called the Basic English 80-50 list. What is that? Well, it's a specially chosen list of just 850 words that are considered enough to handle most everyday conversations in English. It's like the language's greatest hits, the absolute essentials. Just let that sink in for a second. There are hundreds of thousands of words in English, and loose made the top 850. It's a VIP word. That tells you it's a fundamental piece of the puzzle and why it's so important to nail down what it really means. Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. What does loose actually do? Well, its main job is as an adjective. All that means is it's a word that describes something, a person, a place, a thing, and it's got a few key meanings that we really need to get straight. All right, first up, and probably the one you hear the most. Loose means something that can move around easily, like it's not attached properly. Think wobbly or not secure. It just has a little too much wiggle room. And this example is just perfect. A loose tooth. We've all been there, right? That feeling when it's not quite in place anymore, it wiggles around. That is the perfect picture of what loose means in this sense. Okay, meaning number two. This one is all about how things fit. If something is loose, it just means it's not tight or snug. Think baggy, roomy, oversized. We use this all the time, especially when we're talking about clothes. Yep, another classic example. My pants are loose, they're not clinging to my body, they're not tight, they're loose. Super simple, super direct. Now, there's a third meaning, and this one's a little different, a bit more nuanced. If you hear someone described as having loose morals, it generally means they're sexually unrestrained. It's a bit of an old-fashioned way of putting it, for sure, but it's good to know what it means if you run into it, maybe in an old book or a movie. Okay, so we've got a pretty good handle on what loose means. But you know what can really lock in the meaning of a word? Looking at its exact opposite. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. And here it is, plain and simple. Loose versus tight. This is your secret weapon. Seriously, next time you're stuck, just ask yourself the question, is this knot loose or is it tight? Are my shoelaces loose or tight? Is the lid on this jar loose or tight? Thinking of tight as the direct opposite will almost always guide you to the correct word. So we've covered the literal meanings, but English loves to play with words, right? So of course, loose pops up in all sorts of common expressions and idioms. And in these, that core idea of being free or not tied down gets a little more creative. Like you might hear someone say they're at loose ends. That just means they're kind of bored, don't have any plans. Or if a criminal is on the loose, well, that means they've escaped and are running free. And then there's the classic hang loose, which is just a super chill way of saying take it easy or relax. See how that idea of being unattached or free is in all of them? So there you have it. We took a deep dive into a really key word from that basic English 850 list, clarified its meanings, and saw exactly why it's so different from loose. It really makes you think, though, doesn't it? How many other simple words are out there that we just kind of take for granted? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.